Guide here at Wild Rose Bohemian. I'm here today with my day from the collaboration with Rach and Bella Crafts, the Nostalgic Noel collaboration. Isn't that beautiful? There's 60 of us, and the collaboration started on the 1st of November, and right now we're on the day 24, and my partner is Mimi's Keepsakes, and my prompt is Exciting Embossing. I'm not going to flip through the kits that Rachel created, but I do want to give you a brief overview because I think that's important, and my encouragement to you is to please go and purchase something from her. I know she puts out so many freebies on Friday. You probably could create forever from that, but this is her livelihood, and she puts so much heart and soul and effort and extreme talent, like off the charts talent. Look at this. Look at this, guys. I just, every image is a feast to the eyes, really. It's so beautiful. Anyway, this is the basic kit here. It's got a vintagey feel. That's, I guess, why it's called Nostalgic Noel. But there is a base kit that has journal pages and some collage pages and background pages. It's so beautiful. There's a fussy cut kit. Look at this collage. This could be standalone, but those are fussy cuts. Then there's also the add-on ephemera. It's got tags and envelopes and, you know, smaller embellishments, pockets. It's gorgeous. 2 backgrounds. One in a more vintagey style. And you can see how well they blend together. They just really go together. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous set. And then the backgrounds kit. Okay, so I encourage you, please go over to Rachel and Bella's website. I'll link those in the comment box below. You can grab her freebies on coffee, but if you do, I'm encouraging you to buy her a coffee. They really cost less. When I was at Starbucks the other day, it was $7, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like buying a kit. So, and the latte is gone in, I don't know, for me, maybe an hour. But anyways, so I printed up some, I just want to show you very quickly, I printed up some of the collage pages. I'm going to use some parts of those. Printed up a tag page. And I really am I'm on a print and demand kind of situation where I'm just printing up what I want because I seem to end up with so many extras and I have such small storage space. Yeah, printed double-sided of more of the collage pages. And then printed some of the backgrounds on vellum. Printed this page up. I liked, yeah, actually, every page, every piece of that one. I enlarged this one a bit because I really like these women here. I probably will use those first. And then I printed up on 110 cardstock, these 2 to a page. So the other thing I want to mention very quickly is that I'm working with some things that you may not have on hand, but you may be very familiar with. I'm using aluminum tape. You get it at the hardware store. I got mine on Amazon for $6. It's super sticky, guys. So sticky. But it's very manipulatable, and it creates some pretty interesting effects. So I'm using that. I'm also using some wax. This is some of my favorite wax. And then I'm using the Distress. This is Distress paint. It's about the only paint I found that would color the metal. And then I'm also using a Ranger embossing pen. And I'll just briefly mention that when I was assigned this prompt, immediately I went and I looked for tutorials on embossing to see what had been done. And I came across Bella's video from last year. I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing else to say. She did so amazing. So I'm going to direct you there if you're really interested in embossing, because I think she's actually the expert, to be quite frank, of what I've seen. So this Embossed pen I may use with some embossing powder. I'm not sure. We'll see on the accents. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, I'm also using a little bit of cardboard and glue and scissors. Oh, embossing folders. Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe a punch or two. Okay, I'll see you soon. Okay, I wanted to show a couple of other kind of, I don't know if they're actually embossing techniques, but they're sort of like that. And they're part of my finished tag, or my finished product. So I thought I'd just show that really quick because since this is really more of a method video than it is like start here to make a whole completed project, this can be used in so many, this metal can be used in so many different ways. And then I'm using the Distress Rock Candy from Ranger, and I am also using the Texture Paste Opaque Matte. I've got a couple of stencils, and I'm just going to, on the couple of backgrounds, maybe, yeah, let's do this one. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the texture paste, and I'm using it's a brush from, is it called Finnabar? Yeah, it's an Art Basics brush. They're the same people that make the wax I'm using. Art Alchemy, Finnabar. So, and all that you do is basically you just get enough on, and it's really quick, fast, simple. Just brush it on. The reason I like this as opposed to a palette knife is because you can wipe off the excess and get the top fairly smooth. So before I lift it up, I basically just make sure that I've kind of got it smooth. I'll just show you closer. It's fairly smooth. And then I lift up the stencil. And there isn't a lot that's left. Like, this isn't going to dramatically change the what your page looks like yet. So then what you do is I'm adding the Distress glitter. I'm actually pretty generous. I suppose I'm not really a good method tutorial person because I spend more time on the computer than I do at my desk recently. Not in the past, but recently, and so a little bit. But you can see, I just think it's really pretty. So it totally adds to the way that your image looks. It doesn't take away from the image to where you can't tell what it is and replace the image, but it adds some texture and some rays and a little bit of sparkle. So I've used that in a couple of my finished tags. I wanted to show you that before I moved on. And then the next thing I want to show you, that'll be drying while I get to the next point. You could do that with any stencil that you have, and probably, I think probably any color glitter too. Okay, so the next thing is when you're working with the metal, it also looks really pretty. Oh, it looks really pretty on this. You can tell I probably have adult 88 because I wanted to show you on the vellum too. The vellum is really pretty, but so is the texture on the vellum. So we'll be able to see this finished. I'll just do a few places. A couple of things about this really quick I'll tell you too is that you want to wash your stencil as quick as you can. So I'm placing my stencil when I'm done in a little water bath since I can't get right to it. Oh, that's better. You can kind of see a little bit better on that. Nice. And I didn't do it straight so that we can, it's kind of offset. Oops. You probably hear my family in the background and I'm so sorry. I don't know when else to do a video. I have hoped for quiet all week, but I'm running out of time to get this to you, so. See how pretty that is. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that's going to dry. So now onto the metal. One of the most important parts about working with the metal tape is it can be used alone. So just by ripping off a piece, and before you add any kind of texture to it, what you want to do is smooth it out so that the other ripples or whatever that is in it don't add to your texture. So you can just do the tape on its own, which is really amazing because I've cut mine into different strips for different reasons so that it's like a washi tape. I'm actually just hand embossing this. I would be showing you with my embossing on my embossing machine, but while I was doing this, I actually broke 2 plates earlier today, so I can't show you that way, but it does work just fine this way too. This metal is really easy to work with, so you just press on it, and oh, I'm not crazy about that pattern. You can kind of see, but I'm actually not crazy about that pattern, so I'm actually going to try again because I haven't used this stencil before. I don't love it. Okay, good thing the metal tape is not cheap, or is cheap, sorry, fairly cheap. Smooth it out. See, I love this stencil. I'm not sure if you can see, but immediately you get kind of a raised edge. And it's something I actually really love because I really like turquoise jewelry, and often it's set in silver, and this particular die looks like similar to some kind of something embossed on silver jewelry. So that's what you would do when you're just using it as a strip, and then you can set this aside even as washi tape in anything. I've done that with so some that are this size. These are stars. And then I've got these strips that are cut, which I'm going to show you what I would do with in a minute, but I'm not going to emboss these. That's kind of left over, so I'm just telling you it's Okay, so the next thing, if you're going to be making a tag or something else that you know is kind of a project where you're going to need some kind of substance behind it, one thing that you can do is cover a whole sheet of, this is 110 cardstock, and the way I've embossed it in my machine is actually through this method, which is to place the tape, and you want to be really, this tape is so super sticky you get one chance at putting it down on your paper. So you want to cover your paper like that with the metal tape and smooth out as much as you can all of the edges. Just like that. You can overlap them just a little bit. It tears fairly easily too. Okay. I'm actually going to cover this whole sheet. While we're here, you don't need to watch me do that. But basically you would cover your whole sheet and then cut it into the size of what would be going into your embossing folder. And when I do that, it's really important when you're embossing with your embossing machine and this metal is to just spray the back of it a little bit with some water so that it's a little bit more malleable. You can see how sticky this tape is. So really you could use this sheet right here in almost anything that you would be creating in your junk journal, like this. So I've got some of these that I've done already for time's sake, where they've been cut out, and then what I've done is, so here's a sample here. This is actually a piece like this that's run through the embossing machine, and it's got a little bit of a raised edge on it. Here's another sample. This has some writing on it. Let's see, and then I've done some of them that are just the strips too. I wanted you to see. I've colored them. But this is what it looks like when you do a sheet like this. So as far as going through the tutorial process, I need to be able to show you what to do with the metal to color it. So the next step would be that, to show you how to color it. I had a real struggle in finding paint or something that would actually accept, that the metal would actually accept color. It was really a challenge for me. And I did find, let's see, I just want to be able to show you a couple different methods, but have enough pieces to show you with. Yeah, that's probably enough. I could rip those in half if I need to. So using this Opal Magic, or this is rose gold. So let's see, I'll just do that on this one. So what you want to do is just take some of your wax, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that it goes further into the bottom, oops, and not so much just on the top. So I'm trying to cover the whole thing, top and even the raised part first with the wax. This is the rose gold wax. I'm sure there's a better way than using your finger. I'm a finger girl that way, like my hands don't. I don't mind if they get kind of dirty or anything at all. So hold on one sec. Okay, sorry. What you need too is a little bit of I guess Kleenex or something to be able to, when you, after you put the wax on, you want to kind of, I'm hoping to kind of rub off just the stuff that's on the top. Kind of rub it off a little bit so that you can see more of the embossing, particularly in some of the areas where I might have gotten it a little bit too thick. And I'm kind of rushing the process. That happens to me when I'm filming a video is that you can see kind of as I start to maybe a little bit more take off this stuff on the top because I push the wax into the background, that you can start to see more of what the embossing looks like. And I just think it's really pretty. Yeah. You get it where you like. Oops. That's what that looks like. I think it's super pretty. Okay, so that's using the wax. That does the same thing when you're using the couple of different colors. This one here, this one is the Amethyst Magic. And what I actually like about this one is I never have actually even seen it turn amethyst. You can kind of see that in the wax, but I mean, you can even see it there, right? But it actually ends up to me looking more like it's antiqued. So you wouldn't run out and buy a bunch of stuff unless you absolutely love like the specific technique of what I'm doing. But when you rub this off, I actually like how it looks because it adds, I might even spend a little bit more time on it, but you can see this one actually just adds a little bit of a an aged look to the silver, and I actually really like that. Okay, so another thing to do, this distress paint, this is antique bronze. When you use it, make sure you shake it really well, and you can hear the balls inside releasing. I'm going to use a paintbrush and probably just so this will just paint on, and because it's metallic, it almost just is just changing the color basically of the metal. So if you were doing something where you would prefer this color metal, and you can see I have one that's a gunmetal, I couldn't find it, but it would be perfect for doing steampunk, this technique using the gunmetal. So you can see this will take a while to dry, but it changes the color. And once this is dry, that's when you can add another color wax or something on the top, some ink on the top to raise it up. Let me see here. Yep, I went ahead and dried it. Okay. When I'm doing some of the sanding, I should mention that these edges are fairly sharp and you'll need something to sand it with. I draw in charcoal quite a bit, and I realized that this, something actually has become quite handy in my junk journal supply. I use it to do the edges. A lot of pieces I want to antique like this. Probably one of my favorite tools. Anyway, what I'm wanting to do here is I'm going to use a little bit of sandpaper now with this and just sand off the top so that the raised edges pop up. And that's what that looks like. I actually think that's pretty too. I'm not sure if I do the snowflakes like that, but it's perfect actually for some of the other. Yeah, it might be actually really perfect for one of the tags I'm going to do. Okay, so you can do that. And then also this one here, this one is tarnished brass. Let's see. I literally tried alcohol inks, every alcohol ink I had, and I couldn't get it to really change the color very much. And the inks I had, this one is, I actually don't love that. Let's go next. All right. Using silver works well too because you can sand off the silver and then it'll accept ink from your ink pad a little bit better. So just do that. Okay, you're probably wondering, why are you putting silver on silver? Let me just show you here. Once you use that silver paint, the metal tape seems to accept ink a little bit better, and so if I just really lightly work with the texture on this, I can just kind of change the color a little bit. I like this for just like having a little, this makes it like a shimmery navy color. I don't know if you can you see that? I don't know if it's focusing there, but it would take the time to kind of build it up. And then wiping it off where you like. Okay, so that is actually what I wanted to show you. As far as one other thing is how easily this stuff punches. So let's see. What you can do is make it and then even use it to make other embellishments, which is like here. Cut this out. You see how easily that punch worked. So I've got stuff here to use to make some charms. Those will show up in the finished portion of the video, but I've cut out some of the things from Rach and Bella's kit, and you can see this here. All I've done is use a punch, but what that'll do, I'll show you the finished ones. I'm not going to actually show this to you as the project. I just wanted you to see how easily that it punches with with a punch, because I thought that was important too. Okay, let's get really quick with the project. So, okay, I'm going to get started now just on the project. It really is self-explanatory, so not really anything that I actually should show, but I do want you to get an idea of things, because that metal can be used on anything. What I've done, I showed you that I cut the couple of the pages, two to a page, and I love doing that for a couple of reasons, and I wasn't sure if I was going to use these or not, but when I fold it, generally I fold it with a little bit of a lip like this, because there's two things I could do with that. One is I could fold this over again and then show you quickly. Fold those together as opposed to just folding it in half. And then at this point in time, glue it. You could create a pocket. Really easy to do just by giving it a little notch in there. I'm going to show the whole thing, but you get the general idea, because that's one of the things I do with those. The next thing I'd like to do is basically just make a set of file folders, and these can just be probably what it should have printed double-sided, but basically you just choose where you're going to be. I'm kind of freehanding it right now, but you could trace an edge that you have, but you get the idea there. Oops, probably a little bit smaller. But that's what you would do to make a set of file folders. You could also fold them in half and use tabs to do it. I just thought I'd show you that really quick. And then this is the tag that I'm working on now. So some of the stuff I printed on vellum I mentioned. I think I want to use a vellum image there, but I wasn't sure which one. So I've got two of them that might work. I like that one, but I also like this girl. And it'll depend, so I don't really love how that goes through her face there. It might work up there. I think I like this one. Okay, so this is one of those pieces that I added the kind of frosty snow-kissed stuff to. And at the moment it's folded in half. I think I'm going to use her. I've gone ahead and torn the metal, that one piece of metal that I really loved, which is this one. And it's what's awesome, like I said, is that you can, because it has tape on the back. First I'm going to put her where I'd like. Let me make sure I want to use a vellum piece. I don't know, I kind of like that too. No, I'm going to use the vellum because I started with the vellum. So all I'm going to do, because I don't love how vellum looks with the glue, is I'm just putting in ever so little amount. So that it's tacked in place. And then I'm going to peel off my metal. That's how easy it is to use. And I think, let's see. probably should have cut it before I removed the backing, because I can still use this. It doesn't even need glue. Be careful, because the first time you put it down, it is not coming back up. There we go. Just trim that. So this is really just basic tag making at this point. So with my tag folded in half, it's going to give me the opportunity to add some either lace or some ruffle on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and basically finish the tag off camera. I'll end up putting some lace probably through the top and inking the edges and cutting, that kind of thing. But that basically that's it. So you can see where this one, I've basically done the same thing, except for I cut out a circle here. Same thing here on this one. It's just embellished. And this one, and I'll show you this one when this one gets done. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to take a minute and show you what I've ended up creating with the metal parts and some of the other embossing that I did. Ended up putting this tag together. You can see how pretty the embossing is. Actually, the metal tape. And this one. I didn't do anything with this metal. It's just how it is. This one. So just want to thank Rachel so much for the beautiful digitals, and Bella mostly for the inspiration. I know I watched one of the last videos that she had, and she said her channel was really blowing up, and I'm just so excited for her. So thank you, Rach and Bella, for putting on this collaboration and the tremendous amount of work that it's been for you. And I know there's been some challenges like last week. And I also want to thank you so much for the help that you have given my collaboration, and for being such an amazing contributor to our community. And and all the other makers, because I'm learning so much. It's as if I've actually embarked in school. I've really dedicated myself to watching everyone, and I'm learning so much. You'd think that after many years I might know, but it's just kind of a revitalization of my feeling inspired, and so I'm so ever so grateful for that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you're still here, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel or like, and oh, I love comments too. So hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.